Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to Commissioner Werfel for joining us today. I mean, we're 60 days out from Tax Day 2024. The Kansans I represent are working through their tax season tasks, whether it's preparing to file their individual tax returns or filing business forms. I mean, the fact is everybody has to interact with the IRS. An agency really should have a customer-focused prerogative that puts American people first and not the own interests within the agency. I'm also concerned about, like my colleagues here, about some of the inflammatory accusations that certain groups of Americans are automatically considered to be tax cheats. My career prior to running for office was looking at how do we provide good customer service, how do we make business operations more efficient. And unfortunately, it seems like a lot of the DC bureaucracies focus more on how to make things easier to push paper or work from Johnny's desk to Sally's desk, instead of focusing on how to be more efficient and meet the needs of American taxpayers and any constituents and provide that quality, timely service. Mr. Commissioner, I'm sure this doesn't surprise you, but my office in Wichita receives calls each year from constituents who have issues with the IRS. I mean, just this month I received a letter from a small car dealership in Cheney, Kansas, that faced issues e-filing their 1099 NECs by January 31st deadline through the Information Retrieval Intake System, or the IRS. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to submit this letter from Luber's Cars for the record.
Without objection.
You know, the controller at Luber's Car told my office that while they started in the middle of the month, the e-filing and IRS portal continued to crash, causing major delays and pushing them right up to the deadline. But the situation was not unique to Luber's Cars, who assured me that they have the top-of-the-line high-speed internet. They reached out to the Kansas Automobile Dealers Association, who informed them it was a widespread issue. Luber's tried the portal at multiple times during the workday and evening with no avail. Their CPA indicated that they were receiving calls as well. Finally, around 6 a.m. on January 31st, the deadline, they successfully were able to submit the required 1099 NECs. Commissioner, as you know, the next deadline is March 31st. Are you aware of these issues with the IRS portal, and what are you doing to make sure that this critical tool is ready for the upcoming heavy usage as more small businesses file, now that you've got this money to
Absolutely.
have these upgraded systems?
It's a great question, and it's definitely on my radar screen. It was concerning while it was going on. This is, you know, we have a lot of different portals, tools, technology out there, and you know, anyone who's involved in running these systems will let you know that they don't always perform perfectly. The key is what your reaction time, your speed, your troubleshooting is, and when it happens, do you learn from it so that you prevent that type of mistake from happening in the future? And that's what I'm trying to instill in the IRS. And so we were working the problem, are working the problem, made the necessary adjustments to allow these information returns to be submitted successfully. We are monitoring it very closely because of what you said, and I'm cautiously optimistic that the changes and the updates that we made will allow for a much more stable platform as we get to the busy season.
Well, the Luber's controller called the IRS help desk multiple times and couldn't get through. You said earlier you've hired 5,000 new call agents to help with that, and so this letter is just less than 2 weeks ago. And so have all IRS agencies, employees returned to the office for 5-day work weeks since COVID? I know the GAO issued a report this fall that high percentages of offices across all agencies, not just the IRS, had not returned to the office. And what are you going to do, or what are you doing to help make sure that taxpayers who are trying to do the right thing can get through to work with your agents and other employees?
Yeah, so first clarify, all IRS employees are working. The objective is to make sure that we're getting the mission done. And when you tell me that someone didn't get through on the phone line, I want to learn more about that and figure out what we need to do. There is a government-wide standard out there in terms of where we stand today, what should be the percentage of in-office work versus remote work. The IRS is generally consistent with that government-wide standard, but we're constantly evaluating any steps that we can take.
Sorry to interrupt, but what is that, before I run out of time, what is that governmental standard for the IRS for the number of employees?
Well, the government-wide standard is
working?
50% is the government-wide standard.
So 60% of the employees come to the
Everyone's
office.
working. It's 50% on site versus 50% working working in some remote location.
So how can somebody in a remote location be handling these tax returns? That just seems to me that it's not doing the job that needs to be done to help service American constituents.
Well, I'm happy to walk you through in greater detail, but we have many, many employees on site doing the exact work that you described. And, you know, in our campuses where a lot of our processing of taxes goes, that's where we have heavy, heavy presence of IRS employees.
Thank you, and my time's run out.